Have you ever stared at your phone wondering why she suddenly stopped replying? Why the conversation that felt so alive just vanished into silence? What if I told you, it's not what you text, but how you carry yourself through your words that makes all the difference? Before we dive deep, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you watch this video until the end, because these insights, rooted in Stoic wisdom and modern psychology, could completely change the way women respond to you. Let's talk about the 3 texting secrets women can't resist. Explained through the eyes of Marcus Aurelius and real human nature. This isn't a pickup guide. It's a philosophy-backed way to command respect, desire, and clarity through the messages you send. There was once a man named Lucius, not a Roman general, just an average guy in the modern world. Lucius had just started texting Clara. They met at a bookstore. She smiled. He cracked a witty line about Seneca. Boom, chemistry. But something strange happened. In person, she laughed, made eye contact, leaned in. But over text, her replies became colder, slower, one-worded. Eventually, nothing. Lucius did what many men do. He double-texted. He tried to be funny, then romantic, then direct. He asked, "Did I say something wrong?" He even sent a good morning text. Nothing. He went from feeling like a lion to a begging puppy. Now here's the kicker. Lucius wasn't unattractive. He wasn't boring. He didn't lack potential. But he lacked emotional posture, something Marcus Aurelius understood deeply. Let's rewind and break this down. Texting, secret 1. Power lies in restraint. Have you ever waited for her reply, and it never came? You stared at the screen. The tiny typing bubbles popped up and disappeared. You started doubting yourself. Did I say something wrong? Was I too forward? Should I have been more playful? More flirty? Less serious? If you've ever been there, confused, frustrated, replaying every message you sent in your head, like an emotional detective, this story is about you. This story is about every man who's ever cared too much, too soon. And it begins with a guy named Lucius, but trust me, Lucius could be you. Lucius's texting mistake, seeking over leading. Lucius met Maya on a cool autumn evening at a rooftop party. They didn't talk about weather or traffic. They talked about Marcus Aurelius. Strangely enough, she had studied ancient philosophy. He had just started reading Meditations. The connection was instant. Their eyes locked, their laughter synced. And when she gave him her number, it felt like fate had stepped in. The next morning, Lucius woke up with a stupid grin on his face. He opened their chat and typed, "Still smiling about last night. You have great energy. Simple, honest, sweet." Maya replied 2 hours later. "You too." Now, here's where things changed. That smile, that lightness in Lucius's chest, slowly turned into attachment. He started checking his phone more often. He started thinking, what should I say next? What if she loses interest? He crafted each text like a love poem. He told himself, if I'm just romantic enough, she'll stay interested. But what he didn't realize was this. Every message he sent was an attempt to seek validation, not connection. Let's pause and reflect on your story. Let me pull you into this for a second. Have you ever found yourself texting not because you had something to say, but because you were afraid of silence? Maybe you've typed a message like, "Hey, just thinking about you." Or, "I hope you're okay. Haven't heard from you." Be honest, were you expressing love? Or trying to get a hit of attention? Let me ask you this. Who was the last girl who made you wait on a reply? What did that feel like in your chest? A dull ache? An anxious knot? Did it remind you of past loves that drifted away without a goodbye? We've all been there. It's not weakness, it's humanity. But here's where Marcus Aurelius changes the game. The wisdom of Marcus. Power over the mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That's what Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations nearly 2,000 years ago. Now think about that for a second. Power over your mind, wait, not the outside world. You can't control how fast she replies. You can't control if she liked your last message. You can't control whether she's texting you or another guy. But what can you control? Your response, your posture, your energy. This is what Lucius didn't understand, at least not at first. The shift from needy to grounded. As the days passed, Lucius kept texting Maya. Her responses got shorter, colder, slower. She'd reply after 6 hours with, "Lol," or, "That's nice." Lucius panicked. He doubled down. He wrote longer texts, tried being funnier, even sent a song that reminded him of her. But it wasn't love, or it was emotional chasing. It was his lack of restraint that pushed her further away. It's funny, isn't it? When we feel someone slipping, we grip tighter. But in doing so, we often push them out of our lives entirely. That's when Lucius remembered a quote from Marcus. If someone does wrong, it's not your concern. Your only concern is not to be like them. He realized he was becoming someone even he wouldn't respect. So he made a decision. He stopped texting Maya, not out of anger, not as a game, but because he finally understood how power lies in restraint. What does restraint really mean in texting? Let's break this down for your life, for your love story. Restraint isn't silence. It's intention. It's choosing not to act from insecurity. It's waiting to reply because you're busy building your life, not because you're trying to seem cool. It's sending a message because you want to express something true, not because you want a response. See the difference? Most men text out of fear. Fear she'll forget them. Fear someone else is winning her attention. Fear of the unknown. But the Stoic man, the man of emotional power, acts from calm. He trusts that if she values him, she'll respond. And if she doesn't, well, he's free to move on. He doesn't panic, he pivots. Let's return to your story again. Take a second, close your eyes and think. Who is that girl for you? That one who made you feel butterflies? The one who sent your heart racing with a simple, "Hey." Now ask yourself, did you ever send a message you wish you could take back? Did you ever try too hard? When you knew deep down that the silence was the answer? We all have. And that moment and that pain is the seed of growth. Because once you feel the sting of overextending, you begin to learn the beauty of holding back. What Lucius did next. Weeks passed. Lucius didn't reach out. He went back to his workouts. He reread meditations. He deleted Maya's number. Not with bitterness, but with clarity. And then, she texted him. "Hey, been thinking about our conversation at the rooftop. How's your book going?" But here's the twist. Lucius didn't feel the rush anymore. He felt calm, grounded. He didn't respond immediately. He finished his workout, took a shower, made dinner, and then replied, "Still reading. Still learning. Hope you're well too." Short, clear, no chase. That's the moment Lucius became the prize. Not because she came back, but because he came back to himself. Your takeaway. So now I want to ask you something. What would happen if you stopped texting to be liked and started texting only when it felt right to you? What would it feel like to live like Marcus, unshaken by silence, unfazed by delay and anchored in purpose? Because here's the truth. Women don't fall for men who text the most. They fall for men who respect themselves the most. And respect starts with restraint, not silence, not manipulation, but a deep, quiet strength that says, I don't chase, I attract, I lead. Texting secret 2. The pause creates power. Have you ever sent a message and just waited? Staring at the screen, watching, hoping, obsessing, just waiting for her to reply. That long, empty silence between sent and seen, do you remember how it made you feel? Like time slowed down, like your heartbeat in your throat. You kept checking your phone, over and over. You even convinced yourself the signal might be off. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she's busy. Maybe she didn't see it yet. But deep down, you knew. That silence wasn't just her not responding. That silence was you losing power. But here's the truth, and this might just change your life. The pause doesn't have to destroy you. In fact, the pause creates power. Let me tell you the story of a man named Julian, and why every man should live this lesson. Julian's mistake, filling every silence. Julian was the kind of guy who felt everything deeply. He loved hard. He cared fast. When he met Tara at a mutual friend's dinner party, something clicked. She had a wild laugh, confident eyes, and the kind of presence that made you forget your phone even existed. The moment she gave him her number, he was all in. That night he texted her. Tonight was magic. You've got the kind of vibe that stays with you. She replied hours later. I had fun too. Julian smiled. But then he didn't pause. Instead of waiting, instead of letting space build, he sent another text. What are you doing tomorrow? Maybe coffee? And just like that, the energy shifted. Tara didn't reply until the next day. So Julian, sent another text, and slowly, unknowingly, he entered the emotional spiral most men fall into. Filling every pause, every gap in the conversation became a threat. A threat to his ego, a threat to his hope, a threat to his imagined future with her. But what Julian didn't understand was this. Every message he sent to keep it going was actually draining the attraction. Why? Because he wasn't using the pause to build power. He was using words to cover fear. Let's talk about your story for a moment. I want you to think about the last girl who really got to you. Not a casual flirt. Not a weekend fling. I mean the one who made your stomach flip just by saying your name. Do you remember how you felt when she stopped texting back? Was it panic? Insecurity? That deep hollow feeling in your gut that whispered, "She's losing interest." So what did you do? Did you pause? Or did you panic? Did you trust the silence? Or try to fill it? Let me say something that might hurt, but it's the truth. Most men lose the girl not because they said the wrong thing, but because they couldn't handle the silence. But now imagine the opposite. Imagine you send a message, and then you wait, not with anxiety, but with confidence. You let her wonder. You let her miss you. You live your life in the meantime. You don't sit there refreshing. That's the pause. And that pause is powerful. Marcus Aurelius on the pause. Let's turn to our Stoic guide, Marcus Aurelius. He wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them." In other words, it's not her silence that hurts you. It's what you think her silence means. You assign meaning to the pause, and often it's negative. She's losing interest. She's talking to someone else. I messed this up. But Marcus reminds us, the pain isn't in the pause. The pain is in your reaction. So what if you paused with strength? What if you waited with intention? What if you trusted that the right woman wouldn't forget you? And if she did, then it wasn't meant to be. That's the heart of Stoic power. That's where attraction deepens. Julian's transformation. From chaser to centered. Back to Julian. After days of reaching out and getting cold replies, something finally clicked. He went for a walk, no music, no phone, just his thoughts. And he remembered something he read from Meditations. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And he asked himself, would a grounded man send a third text just to chase a reply? Or would he stand tall in silence? That night, Julian did something different. He didn't text. He didn't check her profile. He didn't reread her messages. Instead, he worked out, read, journaled. He focused on becoming the centered man she was initially drawn to. And what happened next? Tara texted the next day, "Hey, you've been quiet. Hope everything's okay." See the shift? His pause made her reach out. That's not magic. That's psychology. That's nature. That's power. What you must remember about the pause. Let's get real for a second. The pause isn't just about not texting. It's about owning your space. It's about creating desire through absence. It's about showing, not saying, that you're not dependent on her validation. Because here's the truth most men miss. Desire grows in space, not in suffocation. When you don't text for 12 hours, she wonders. When you don't reply instantly, she feels tension. When you're not always available, she notices your value. But if you're always there, if you reply in seconds, if you jump to keep the conversation alive, there's no mystery, no polarity, no power. Let's bring it back to you again. Think about your next texting moment. You send a message. She doesn't reply. What do? Do you break the silence because your ego is screaming for certainty? Or do you breathe, lean back, and let the tension work for you? Texting isn't about constant conversation. It's about strategic energy. And the man who can pause with peace always stands out. Because while other men are scrambling for her attention, you're letting her earn your presence. Your final reminder. The next time you feel the urge to fill the silence, remember this. The pause is not rejection, it's reflection. It's where she thinks about you. It's where you return to yourself. It's where real attraction begins. So pause, not as a tactic, but as a testament to your strength. Be the man who doesn't need to be loud to be felt. Be the man who lets silence speak for him. We're just getting started. The next texting secret will show you how to say less and leave more impact. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you've ever waited for a reply that never came, drop it in the comments so I know I'm not alone. Texting Secret 3. Speak with simplicity and depth. Have you ever sent a long, heartfelt message, only to get a one-word reply? Cool. Yeah. Nice. And you just sat there thinking, did she even read it? Did she even care? You poured out your heart. You typed in backspaced. You were thoughtful, vulnerable, sincere, and yet all you got back was silence, or worse, indifference. Friend, if you've ever felt that, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not weak for caring. But here's what most men don't realize. Sometimes the words that come from the deepest place get lost in the flood of too much. That's why today's secret is a game changer. Speak with simplicity and depth. Let me take you into a story, one that might feel eerily familiar, about a man named Dev. Dev and the wall of words. Dev was smart, thoughtful. He read philosophy, wrote poetry, and when he met Alina, he felt something rare. That feeling you only get once or twice in a lifetime. They started texting after meeting at a rooftop bar, where they'd talked about Carl Jung, the meaning of dreams and whether soulmates were real. So when Dev went home that night, he crafted a message. It wasn't just a "had a great time." It was a paragraph and maybe 3. He told her how refreshing it was to meet someone so intellectually alive. He quoted Rumi. He told her she had eyes that looked like stories. He hit send, waited. Hours passed. She finally replied, thank you. That was it. That's when Dev made the mistake. He thought, maybe I need to express more, to explain what he meant. So he followed up. He sent more paragraphs, more meaning, more emotion, and every time, she gave less. The problem with overexpressing. Now pause here. Have you ever been Dev? Have you ever thought that your depth, your sensitivity, was too much for this world? Have you ever felt like the more honest you were, the more ignored you became? It's frustrating, right? But the problem isn't your depth. The problem is the delivery. Let me ask you this. When was the last time someone said something simple and you felt it in your chest? A miss you from the right person? A thinking about you at the perfect moment? A stay safe that somehow wrapped you in warmth? Sometimes, the deepest things are said in the fewest words. Marcus Aurelius knew this all along. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius writes, "Speak in the fewest words possible, but always with weight." That's it. That's the balance. Not silence. Not word vomit. Just words with weight. Words that carry presence. When you say, "I had a great time with you tonight," and you mean it, it doesn't need 5 paragraphs. When you say, "I thought of you when I heard this song," it doesn't need to be poetic. Because depth is not about how much you say. It's about how real it feels. Back to Dev, his wake-up call. After 2 weeks of one-sided depth, Dev called his older cousin, Rehan, a man who'd been through his share of heartbreak and healing. Rehan asked him one question. Do you want to be understood or do you want to be felt? That hit Dev, because in his long, wordy texts he wasn't trying to connect. He was trying to be understood. He was performing his depth instead of living it. So Rehan gave him a challenge. Say something honest in 8 words or less. Dev tried. "I like talking to you." Too bland. You make silence feel safe. Getting warmer. Then he sent, "You feel like someone I already miss." No emojis, no fluff. Just that. And this time, Alina replied in under 2 minutes. Wow, that hit different. See that? It wasn't about saying more. It was about saying the right thing, simply. Let's bring it to you now. I want you to think back to someone you cared about deeply. What would you say to her right now if she were in front of you? Not in 100 words, not in a novel, but in a sentence and maybe 2. Would you say, "I miss the way you said my name. I still smile when I think of that night. I didn't say it back then, but I felt it." Those are simple, but they carry weight. And that is the secret. Simplicity isn't weakness, it's discipline. Simplicity makes your message cut through the noise, because everyone else is busy trying to impress. You express why this matters in texting, especially today. We live in a world of constant words, notifications, messages, paragraphs, reels, memes, DMs. People don't read, they scan. So when you text with clutter, you drown. But when you text with clarity, she feels you. Because simple words, said sincerely, create a ripple, especially when the world is shouting and you're whispering with presence. Dev's full circle moment. Weeks after shifting his approach, Dev and Alina finally met again. Over coffee, she told him, "You know what stood out about you? You don't try too hard. When you say something, I know you mean it." That was it. She saw his depth because he no longer performed it. He became the kind of man who didn't need to say everything, just the right thing. And when he spoke, it mattered. Let me leave you with this. Next time you go to text her, pause. Ask yourself, am I trying to impress her? Or express something real? If it's real, keep it simple. If it's deep, like say less, mean more. Because in a world full of noise, the calm voice cuts through. The simple message lingers. The right words, spoken with stillness, are the ones she remembers at 2 a.m. when the room is dark and quiet. That's how connection happens. That's how you stand out. That's how you become unforgettable. We're only halfway through this journey, but the next texting secret will take things to the next level. If this reminded you of a message you regret sending, or one you're glad you didn't, share it in the comments. And if you're feeling this journey, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because simplicity is just the beginning. Returning to Lucius. So what happened to Lucius? Well, after a few failures, he took a break. He picked up meditations. He read the line, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He realized, why waste time chasing someone who doesn't match his energy? He deleted the chat with Clara, not with bitterness, but with peace. He went back to his routines, early morning workouts, evening journaling, weekend hikes. And guess what? 3 weeks later, Clara texted him again. "Hey, I was thinking about that bookstore conversation the other day." But this time, Lucius didn't feel a rush. He felt calm. He smiled. He replied an hour later, "Good to hear from you. How have you been?" That's it. No overreaction. No emotional roller coaster. Lucius became a modern Stoic. And that made him irresistible. Not because he played games, but because he embodied self-respect, restraint, and clarity in the 3 traits women cannot resist. Marcus Aurelius. Bonus mini lessons, 10 quick suggestions. Let's take a rapid-fire look at 10 Marcus Aurelius principles that apply to texting and relationships. 1. You are disturbed not by events, but by your thoughts about them. Don't read into texts. Read your own emotional reactions. 2. It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. Don't hold back from expressing interest, or just don't beg. For if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Don't lie to impress. Be authentic in your messages. 4. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Don't blame her for flaking, learn, adjust. 5. Dwell on the beauty of life. Talk about what excites you. Passion is attractive. 6. Confine yourself to the present. Don't text with anxiety about the future. Be present. 7. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. If she ghosts you, move on. Don't retaliate. 8. What stands in the way becomes the way. Use rejection as redirection. It builds strength. 9. Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears. Don't take slow replies personally. 10. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Be the man you say you are. Through your actions, not your words. Tie it all together with a sharp ending. The phone in your hand is just a tool. It doesn't make you more desirable. Your energy does. And energy is felt through tone, timing, and intent. The man who texts like Marcus Aurelius is rare. He's calm, direct, grounded. He isn't needy because he is already full. So next time you're tempted to send that second message, ask yourself, is this from power or from panic? Choose power. Choose presence. Choose the path of a Stoic. Because women don't fall for texts. They fall for the man behind the texts. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.